Hello, and welcome back to Women for Wealth. So, today I want to talk about having a Zen-like approach to the market. When the market dips, we get a knot in our stomach. We have, you know, all kinds of emotional and sometimes visceral feelings around it. I had a friend that I don't know how much money, I'll be honest, but I know he lost six figures just in the first quarter of this year. And he was just absolutely beside himself, but he's like, "You know what? You're right. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to leave it alone and the market will come up. It will recover." And I told him, I'm like, "Exactly. It will recover. Just calm down. Don't look at it." I told him, I said, "Don't look at your market value again until like July 4th. It will calm down. It will stabilize. The market on average is about 10% growth, and that holds true for the last 30 years. So, I think we're going to get back there. Do I know that the market is going to be able to rebound enough in 2025 to have an average of a 10% gain this year? I don't know because we had so many losses in Q1. Well, we'll wait and see, but I do know over a long period of time, the 10% average does hold true. With compounding interest, that can actually be a life-changing difference in wealth over time. You can create a legacy for your family, you can realize a dream, and you can simply live your life on your terms. You can have freedom, you can have autonomy, you can do what you want when you want, you can live where you want, how you want to. It's up to you, but you have to find financial freedom to do that. So you need to figure out ways to get wealthy. So be a little more zen. Don't let things stress you out. If someone's bragging about, "Oh, they had this stock that went up and they're making all this money." The guy that bragged about, "Oh, I made 10 million in Bitcoin." Well, that's great. But a lot of times when people talk about these dazzling wins and all these great things, there's unspoken losses that they don't tell you. There's a lot of stuff where if you take excessive risk, you think you are creating a shortcut to success, but oftentimes it's going to leave you where you don't want to be. You're going to be running out of time and it's not going to be good. So do not try to shortcut success. Be zen in your approach, just calm down. Look at things in lifetime patterns, not short-term wins and losses. Whenever there's political upheaval, there's going to be economic challenges because the economy does not like uncertainty. And a lot of times what will happen is fear creeps in, you get doubts, and you start getting the urge to act and start selling. Many investors at this point will jump into the market and then, they think, okay, buy low, sell high. And yes, if you boil it down to the basics, buy low, sell high, that is the basics of buying stocks. But, don't sell when it's down. If your stocks are down and you sell, then you have a real true loss. You have lost value. If you leave the stock alone and don't sell it, you haven't lost anything. The value might be down, but you haven't lost any money because you hadn't cashed it out yet. So don't forget that. A small business or a single property is often a lot more riskier than a multi-billion-dollar company or REIT. So don't let market noise make you forget this. My financial advisor, his advice is don't buy any individual stocks. Now, I'm in a situation where I've diversified my spending, and so I have money that I give to my financial advisor every month. He invested in Schwab, and he has a philosophy, he has a process that he uses. He's a little more low risk, and I like having that money there. I also have 401k with matching from my company. That money's, it automatically goes in every paycheck and it just sits there. It's on a mid-risk assessment also, and it's managed by my 401k company. But then, my third thing is I will invest occasionally in individual stocks. So I have, a Coinbase account. I've got a Robinhood account. I've got WeFunder accounts. I've got several different accounts. I apologize, I can't remember them all. But occasionally when I've got extra money above and beyond the first two ways that I'm saving for retirement, then I will buy individual stocks. But I'm very careful about it and only invest money that you could lose. If you've got money that is critical to your family's financial stability, do not, do not, do not invest, especially in individual stocks that are very high risk. It's just not worth it. So, you want to cultivate a calm, smart asset allocation philosophy. So, if you need cash next month and all your money's in stocks, you might have to, in a personal crisis, sell when your stocks are down. You don't want to be in that position. So, make sure you keep enough liquidity and income sources to give yourself breathing room so that you can ride out the volatility with confidence and focus on the long game. Stocks can be like a casino, but you don't want to treat them like that. You want to treat stocks as vehicles for peace of living to be able to let you do what truly matters to you and create value in your life. Returns come from revenue, profits, cash flow, and financial strength, not fleeting price swings. So don't let fear or greed make you make bad decisions. Come up with a plan, execute your plan, and then ignore the noise. Protect your peace at all costs. And you do that with a strong financial foundation. In Zen Buddhism, the Enzo circle is a single imperfect brushstroke. It captures the beauty of the fleeting moment. It's not about perfection or presence. It's about strength and acceptance of life's ebbs and flows. You can see any artwork on Google for examples of the Enzo circle. It's a good analogy for investing. Don't fight the market ups and downs or chase fleeting trends. Flow with them. Stay grounded in a clear philosophy, have a balanced portfolio, and build a life to weather any storm. This will not only result in wealth, but it'll give you a tranquil life and enhance your quality of life because you won't be stressed, you won't be fearful, you'll be calm, and you'll have stability in your financial journey. So let's do this thing. Let's focus on what we can do to have wealth and financial freedom so we can have peace and calm in our lives. A few key wealth principles to leave you with. A foundation of good habits is more important than fancy techniques. So develop good habits around how you're spending. You need to have a budget. Have your budget. We've talked about how to budget on this channel many times. You can see one of those videos. Hopefully the editor will link it below. Another wealth principle is invest in quality businesses at an attractive price. Research businesses before you invest in them. If you don't like going to Walmart and you prefer to go to Target, there are probably other people that have the same philosophy and feelings around it. So maybe for you, Target's a better investment over Walmart. But regardless, make sure you purchase at a reasonable price. You don't want to purchase as the stocks are climbing and possibly might be overinflated for some reason or another. Look at diversifying not just your portfolio, but diversify your income. Another important philosophy is maintain appropriate reserves and income sources. So you want to have multiple income streams. You want to have multiple sources for different income. So look at things you can do above and beyond just having a career and going to a job. Consider your financial circumstances, liquidity, and timing needs. Also look at your goals, tax considerations, and risk exposure. I've said before, I'll say again, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a CPA. I'm not a wealth advisor. I'm an electrical engineer who had to figure this out for myself. And so I'm sharing what I've learned with you. So if you have questions on risk exposure or your taxes, go find an expert. Find someone you trust. Find someone with the heart of a teacher so you can learn and understand, not just be told. And finally, be prepared. Educate yourself by watching videos like this. Put a strong plan in place and then execute it. Do not let economic fluctuations take away your peace and resilience. You want to see steady cash flow, steady income later in life so that you're not going to have to worry about, oh my gosh, I'm on a fixed income. Murphy moved in my spare bedroom. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a flat tire or whatever. Unfortunately, there was a lady in our neighborhood who is older and she fell. And so she was no longer able to go to her job at Walmart because she broke a couple bones in her back, unfortunately. And she didn't know what she was going to do because she was dependent on her income to be able to buy groceries. So one of the ladies in the neighborhood said, hey, we have a friend in need. Let's rally around her. So we all raised money, donated money, and now she has enough money to where she can feed herself for an entire month and not have to worry about where she's going to find food. In addition, several of the ladies that are good cooks prepared meals and froze them for her to where all she has to do is take them out, heat them up in the oven, and then she's good to go. You know, don't be like Miss Betty. Don't be in a situation where if emergency happens, you're not going to be able to feed yourself. I mean, yes, it's great that she has a community that rallied around her, but don't depend on others for your security. Depend on yourself. And then you know that, hey, stuff happens, but I'm prepared. I'm ready. I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to freak out. Until next time, I wish you health and wealth. Sorry, editor. The long pause was there so that I could start video number 2 without having to mess with any of the settings because you've already set it up for me. So